You're listening to the Infinite Banking Mastery Podcast. Did you know that you could build a tax-free pool of wealth that's liquid and accessible all your life while building your retirement nest egg? Gain full control of your financial future and stop relying on the government and banks. The wealthy have already discovered this wealth-building secret. Now it's your turn to get financially secure without following the conventional wisdom that keeps you in debt to banks. Now here's your host, Valerie LaRocque.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Banking Mastery Podcast once again. Thank you so much for being here and listening in. I hope you all have had a great week. Today, I wanted to talk about the interest. People often ask me, well, when I'm paying the interest on my loan back to myself, is that going back to me, to my policy? Am I receiving all of that interest? And that is one of the reasons that my policy is growing. And that's one of the things that's growing my banking system. I get asked that question a lot, so I thought that I would address it further. I feel like I probably mentioned bits and pieces in different podcasts. So I wanted to clarify that when you are paying a loan back to yourself, there is interest that will be going to the company. So the company is charging an interest rate. It's not all going back to you. And of course, you do have the flexibility to select a higher rate of interest to pay yourself back. You don't have to. You can pay yourself back the amount that the insurance company is charging. And there, of course, is a lot of flexibility with that too. So you can even skip a year if you don't have the money to pay the interest back, although we would always recommend that you at least pay interest only to yourself. That interest-only payment can also be made once a year when the interest statement gets sent out to you from the insurance company. You can pay it then, or you can come up with an amount to pay monthly, an interest-only amount, or of course, if you would like to run your system in the best possible way, the way that Nelson Nash recommends, we would charge yourself the interest rate the company is charging plus an amount that you want to charge yourself, so that your banking system will grow. And then that excess interest over and above the amount that the insurance company is charging would go back to you. Sometimes this throws people off a little because they think, oh man, I'm paying interest to the company. I thought it was all going to me. It's my money. And I thought I was paying all of that interest just right back into my own policy directly. Well, you're not. It is a portion of that, whatever the company is charging, is going to the company. But remember that you are a co-owner on your policy. So you own that policy along with the insurance company. And so as an owner, you would want your insurance company to be profitable. And in order for that company to be profitable, they need to be able to earn interest on the amount of money you're sending in, your premiums. So they will either earn interest on that money by investing it elsewhere, oftentimes 30-year bonds or real estate, or they will earn interest because you are borrowing that money. And since you have an account and you are an owner, you have first rights to that money as well. So because you want your company to be profitable, it's good that you're paying them interest because they need to make money to be able to pay all the employees, to be able to pay death benefits, to be able to make due on all their promises and make good on all their promises that they have as an insurance company. The good news is that even though you are having to pay this interest to the company and they're keeping a portion of it, it is coming back to you in the form of a dividend. So yes, you do have to pay the interest, or you should pay the interest. Let me correct myself. You don't actually have to pay the interest every year as you receive these interest statements because you do have full flexibility. You could take a year off, you could take 5 years off, 10 years off, you could maybe never pay it. However, if you're only always taking loans and then never paying back any of the interest, then you will have to make some payments back at some point if you don't want your policy to lapse at some future date, probably when you're much older, and then you don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of that. But mostly you do have full flexibility of paying back that loan. But whether you pay it back right away or not, the company will eventually collect it because they will collect it as you pay it throughout your life, or they will collect it at your death. because they will hold back any amounts due and any interest due at the time of your passing. So they're not concerned about when you make your payments or how often you pay the interest or if you pay the interest, because they know that someday you will pass away. And at that time, if you have not paid it back, they will take it before they pay out your beneficiaries. Now, just a moment ago, when I mentioned how you don't want to only be taking out maximum loans every year and then never paying any interest back, that's not going to be good for you long term. I do want to just mention that, of course, once you get to your retirement years, we will put a plan together where you can pull money out of there for your retirement needs, pull income out. We will structure it in a way that you will not have to pay tax. And the way that we plan for you to receive that income, we do not expect you to have to pay back loans and interest and all that at that time. So that's kind of during your younger years when you're accumulating that money inside of there, building your system, and then flowing it, keeping your money in motion and flowing it out for the things that you need, want, or would like to invest in. Now, another thing that sometimes confuses people, one of my primary companies that I work with has a 4% loan rate right now. And they also say that they will pay 4% with a 3% crediting rate that they have on their contracts, plus the dividend rate, that it's about 4% that you would be receiving on your cash value. And so people will say, well, how am I going to make any money if I'm earning 4 and total on my cash and I'm also paying 4%? Isn't that just a wash? How am I going to earn anything if I'm paying the same amount that I am earning on my cash? Well, you have to remember that you are going to be paying on a balance that is going down every time you make a loan repayment, and you are earning on a balance that is always going up, because when you add premium dollars to that account or when dividends get added to that account, your cash value balance is going up. And so your balance that your interest and dividends is being figured upon is always increasing, and then your loan amounts are decreasing when you're paying loans back. So it's not a wash. You actually are able to make money. I do have some calculator software by a company called Truth Concepts where I can illustrate that further for you on a call that we would have if you were to reach out. So that wraps up what I have for you today. I just wanted to clarify where that money is going when you're repaying a loan, because I hear all the time that it's a little confusing for people. They thought it was going just to their account, and it's not, or not all of it anyway. It depends on how much you're paying yourself back and the structure of how we have that going back to your system. So if you would like to learn more about this, if you would like to connect, partner with me to help look into how this strategy might be a good fit for your family, I would love to connect with you. Feel free to reach out to me at Valerie@alphaomegawealth.com. Thanks again so much for listening in. I hope you have a great week. Take care.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.